Hi, everybody. How are you? Just had one of those moments. Um, I think we all feel them. We don't know what's coming. We know it's something, but it's going to be spiritual and physical. They're going to be separate and intertwined for some. How do we deal with what we don't know? That's the question I've been asking. How do we deal with what we don't know? And it's easy to say, have faith, but that's what it comes down to. It does come down to faith. It comes down to your heart. Where do you want to be? I understand everyone's concern with the 3D questions. I get that. But, it's no different than, yes, we have to live here, but you have to step outside of the 3D. You have to really start looking in the mirror. And if you're only seeing your reflection back, you need to go in. You need to go within. Look, there's so many of you out there that have gifts that you know it, and they're coming along for a lot of people, but just not fast enough. You have to have faith. You have to take a leap of faith. You have to kind of jump 2 feet first sometimes. And it's easier said than done. I agree. Not everybody can do it. That's okay also. All your answers are in here. We already know the bullshit of the outside world. We know it. We know it. It's inevitable. Don't keep bringing it onto yourself. What if, what if, what if? Doesn't matter. It anchors you. It anchors you to the 3D. When we talk about ascension, rapture, the whole bit, for the Christians, they're so obsessed with the day and the hour, and we'll never know it. I think ascension and rapture is the same thing, really. Two different phases of the same dimension. You do have to do the work. You do have to go inside. You do have to pray. You do have to trust yourself. You do have to start having faith within yourself. Okay, let's put it this way. Most of the 3D questions I hear are outside of your control, completely. There's not necessarily anything you can do to alter that. And in fact, if you understand those timelines, they are going to come. It's how you face it. If you're in the 3D world and you know there's going to be hardship, famine, money's going to be tight, ask yourself, what are you doing about it? If you're only doing the minimum, that's the effort that you're going to get. The effort you're putting in is the exact response you're going to get back. It's no different than the spirituality. The effort you put in, it will only be, is whatever you put in, that's what you're going to get out of it. Yeah, there's many times, it's sometimes hard to articulate. It's sometimes hard to hurt people's feelings, and you don't want to. But okay, if you're worried about the banks, and you're worried about the food, and you're worried about the famine, you should be on that. Half the time you have listening to videos, listening to someone else's bullshit. All these truthers. Yeah, and the only one that can save you is you, spiritually and in the 3D. That means taking responsibility. That means having the responsibility. That means accepting the responsibility. It's no different than your gifts. Grabbing them, understanding them, realizing them, owning them. You can't second guess yourself. And if you're straddling the two worlds, you should be doing a whole lot of work in both. You know, we're almost in October. They always tell me to take special note of the feasts. We came through Yom Kippur and everything like that. There's arguably 10 days on either side of it, but yeah, you know, if you're waiting for a spiritual thing to happen, don't let it go. If you're understanding the rapture, no one will understand or know the day or the hour. Will understand the season, and season is also arguable. I have a hard time with some of the people out there, mostly Christian based. Well, you know, I belong to the church, so I'm being raptured. I belong to the Mickey Mouse Club. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just giving you an understanding. Just because you're a member doesn't mean you're going. There's no guarantees on these things. Be a good person. Be a good human. Okay, let's just take the scenario of rapture ascension. What if you don't go? Okay, that's also a blessing. You may not see it that way, but you really need to start perceiving it that way. We all have a role, whether it's pre, post, or nothing happens. We all still have a role in this time, in this moment. How do you choose to face it? How do you choose to prepare if it's the 3D world? If there's spiritual, preparing is also an internal work. How do we know the difference? Your heart tells you. You know, if you're in the 3D world and you're preparing, you can't just prepare for you. You have to prepare for your family, for those in need. That's preparing. If you're preparing to hunker down and be by yourself, what do you think's going to happen? You're going to be by yourself. You're going to be alone. You know, a lot of people don't like the spiritual work, and for that very same reason, because you are alone. We're here to support you, but it is a lonely trip that you have to walk down, that you have to go down that path. Be comfortable with who you are. This is the key to understanding you. This is the key to knowing yourself. We don't like to do a lot of things. There's certain things that we're willing to endure. There's certain things that we have to endure. We don't always get a choice, but we know they're coming. Okay. Here's something. When I went into the hospital for my back surgery, somehow my lung got nicked and my lung collapsed. They didn't realize it. I kept telling them there was something wrong for 3 days. And when they finally realized it, they had to rush me to surgery. There was no time for anesthesia. There was no time for anything. They rubbed something on my side and poked about a 3/4 inch to an inch hole into my side and filled my lung with tubing. Wasn't fun. Didn't look forward to it, but I knew it had to be done. It's those kind of things, even though it's reality, at the same time, I knew I'd be okay. I knew it was going to be something very uncomfortable, but I was okay with it. There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to be uncomfortable with, but if you're uncomfortable with the spirituality, you want to get comfortable with it. You really want to put your work in. We've been saying it for a long time. This isn't a rah-rah pom-pom thing. I mean, it's just an honest, straight talk. No bullshit. Not worrying about what other people are doing or what the government's doing or who's fake and the money system and all the collapse and all the bullshit. Just having a conversation about spirituality and touching on the 3D. I remember several weeks ago, just kind of popped in my feed. One of these truthers talked about hitting it big, money-wise, guaranteeing it. That day came and went, and nothing happened, but guaranteed it. What does that mean? It means every time you turn around, they draw a line, and the line keeps getting moved back and back and back. Okay, in spirituality, you really aren't getting a chance to move that line back. If you got something, grow it. If you have something, accept it, grow it. You need to have the faith within yourself to understand that. Yeah, is it uncomfortable with family, friends, all that bullshit? Yeah. You don't have to come out and tell them everything you don't want to tell them. That's fine, but at least put the work in. Put the work in. I don't even know if I'm going to post this. Okay, one of the biggest things I hear about paying taxes, about paying for their home, about paying for different things in the beast system and all that shit. Do they think these things eventually go away? Yes. I understand that. Is the system corrupt? Yes. I agree with that. But there's also a part of you that, okay, you agreed to something. Say it's a car payment, a house payment, whatever. You agreed to pay for that. And when you stop paying for it, no matter what the evil system is, you broke a promise. You compromised. Whether you see it that way or not, that's true. You know, it's not the deal you made with the devil. It's the devil that made the deal. And you said, yeah, I'm willing to do it. Even though you didn't know that person or that entity was the devil. So how does that translate into the real world on your own obligations of your own self? That's a hard line for me to walk. You know, if you, let's just take the commandments. It don't have to be religious based, but the commandments are kind of what's right and wrong. Yeah, it's bad to kill people. Killing people, bad. Breaking promises, bad. Stealing, bad. It's kind of common sense. But even if you're breaking a promise to someone that's bad, that doesn't make it right. Even though we know the end result is the system collapses. What's the right thing to do? That's going to be entirely on you. I know what I'd do. And yeah, I know it's going to be unpopular what I'm saying. I understand that. I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to be honest. But to me, if you're breaking a promise, regardless of how, I mean, it's legal, but is it ethical to break the promise? You have to weigh that out for yourself. But if you have to convince yourself, it's wrong. If you have to convince yourself, that's wrong. I don't know what I'm going to do with this video. I may not even post it.